Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha. Okay. So first for the practice, and the practice that we have been doing in the mornings, if you do it by yourself, it'll take between it'll take like 1.5 hours. It'll take like 1.5 hours. Then if you have say time-wise, okay, before this I may forget this part here. Before I forget it, let me share with this. Okay, so before I talk about it, let me quickly share with you, say recommended books for reading. Books for reading, recommended books. One, for the Bodhicitta. Say one by one of my principal teachers, Venerable Geshe Lobsang Gyatso. The title of the book is Bodhicitta. For the Bodhicitta, the title of the book is Bodhicitta, title of the book. And then the subheading is The Compassionate Mind of Enlightenment. The subheading is The Compassionate Mind of Enlightenment. The main title is Bodhicitta, written by Geshe Lobsang Gyatso. He is a great Bodhicitta practitioner. Geshe Lobsang Gyatso, Lobsang, Lobsang, Gyatso, Geshe Lobsang Gyatso. And the second book that I would recommend is The Words of My Perfect Teacher. The Words of My Perfect Teacher for the Bodhicitta. And then His Holiness the Dalai Lama's book, How to Practice, and Path to Bliss. And when you become more into the practice, then when you get little, say, you know what to practice Bodhicitta, but then at one point your practice does not improve any further. When your practice does not improve any further, and you want to know where you get stuck. So for this, then you have to read Lama Tsongkhapa's second volume of the Lamrim book. Lamrim, second volume. Lamrim, second volume. Okay, so this will, many of the doubts that we have pertaining to the practice of the bodhicitta, particularly when you get stuck. So this book will tell us what to do and where you are getting stuck. Most of your doubts will be mentioned there, particularly when you become more matured in this practice. Otherwise, for someone who is a beginner, if you directly read this book, you might think that it's too technical or it's too intellectual. Whereas when you're more into the practice, then when you get stuck, you need help. And you read this book, you don't get answer, you get that book, you don't get answer. Then in that case, if you read the Lama Tsongkhapa's second volume, then you will see the benefit of this book. Okay. For the time being, you can read these books, and then of course, particularly for the method of equalizing exchanges of others, the method which we discussed yesterday and today. For this, the Bodhicitta or the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chapter 8. Chapter 8, a guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. A guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chapter 8. So, this is a very good book. And then later on, so once you have these, then if you still want to go into more, then you have to go to the major treatises like Abhisamaya Alankara, up in the Ornament of Clear Realization and the Ornament of Sutra. So these two we have to study. If you really want to go further, even more, then you have to go through the Ornament of Clear Realization and Ornament of Sutra, both by Arya Maitreya. Okay. Then for the emptiness, what I would like to suggest is that initially you can read the How to See Yourself as You Really Are. How to See Yourself as You Really Are by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. How to see yourself as you really are by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This is a very good book. And then as and also the Essence of Heart Sutra by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The Essence of Heart Sutra. This is also a very good book. Okay, then there's one book, Transcendent Wisdom by His Holiness. Transcendent Wisdom. And there's another book on the Transcendent Wisdom is a commentary on Chapter 9, Bodhisattva Shantideva's book, Chapter 9. This is commentary. There's another one, also the latest one. I don't remember the name now. Perfection something by His Holiness. Okay, just let's say the latest commentary on Chapter 9 by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Chapter 9 meaning Chapter 9 of Bodhisattva Shantideva's book, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chapter 9. Okay, so, and then if you want to study more, if you still want to study, of course you have to study more. Right? For the wisdom of emptiness, don't get stuck there. You have to study more. For this, then you must study Acharya Chandrakirti's text, Entry into the Middle Way. Entry into the Middle Way. You have to study this. You have to study this. For this, the commentaries are there. For the time being, go for in fact, commentary by Lama Tsongkhapa. One is there are several translators, but I don't know how available that is. And the second one, translated by Dr. Thubten Jimba. So even that is not from. It took quite some time. It should be by now in the market, but it is still not available in the market. But you have to study this. Entry into the root text is there. Root text is available. You have to study this. But in any ways, to study this, it has to be studied with the help of a teacher. It's not that you can read the book and you understand. It's not easy. You have to study that with the help of a teacher. One. And then, after this, then you can study Nagarjuna's text, the fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Nagarjuna's text. Okay. And to get a very good picture of the Buddhist path and Buddhist teaching, to get a crystal clear picture of the Buddha's teachings with tremendous confidence, particularly with intellectually in depth and vastness, to get a profound confidence. This is Buddha Dharma, right? If you really want to get this confidence, then you have to study Acharya Dharmakirti's second chapter, Pramana Vartika, chapter 2. Pramana Vartika, Pramana, P-R-A-M-A-N-A, Pramana Vartika, V-A-R-T-I-K-A, Pramana Vartika, chapter 2. Pramana Vartika, chapter 2, right? Okay, if you really want to gain confidence, okay, on this basis, then say whether or not I'm practicing well, I'm not practicing well, whether or not I'm really in line with the true Dharma or not true Dharma. So all these things you can see on the basis of this is like a mirror. Very clear, very clear. Okay. And should you have questions, should you have pressing questions, whether on Dharma, particularly the studies about emptiness, bodhicitta and so forth, that you might have questions, and if you become so desperate you don't find any other teachers around you or any like this, then feel free to write to me. dordam@gmail.com. Dordam, D-O-R-D-A-M, dordam@gmail.com. So what I'm saying that as much as possible, you try to have your questions resolved with the help of the people around you, particularly your teachers around you, and because of the language barrier or whatever. If you see that, okay, no, I can't do anything, right? If this is choice, either I leave, right? Either I leave, what is that? Do or die, like this. Then you write to me. And by writing to me, same, I travel a lot. To be very honest, I travel a lot, and so many commitments there. But by no means you should feel dissuaded or discouraged. Feel free to write to me. And if the questions are pretty easy, I will just give answers on the spot. Whereas if the questions require more detailed explanation and so forth, then I may wait for more leisure time. But at least I'll inform you that I got your questions, and I'll look for a leisure time and we'll get back to you a little later. So this is how I approach. Okay, I'm joking. Just make sure that if you really want to ask questions to me, feel free to ask to me. Don't wait until to die. Right? You don't have to wait until that point. Okay, just feel free to ask me questions. Yes.
Sheila, just to ask you, you gave us one list on Bodhicitta and one on emptiness. Just to clarify, the order that you gave them to us in, is that more or less the order that we
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And
Sorry, to clarify, the book number 3 that you say how to practice and path to bliss. Is that 2 books or one?
2 books. How to practice, 1 book. Path to bliss, 1 book. Yeah. Then, one thing which is so important, while we, not just you, me including myself, while we are in Bodhicitta retreat Jambi, the land, very holy land of Lama Selim Bodhicitta Shri Jnana, we are so enthusiastic, right? We are so enthusiastic. we have so many questions and so forth, and slowly when you go back, right, and then you become so busy with your job and so forth, slowly, then there's a tendency for that to happen. Now, practically speaking, we have to keep growing. And the practice which I'm going to suggest to you, that is more for you to sustain. For you to sustain, we have to sustain and then grow. We have to sustain and grow. So the practice which I'm going to suggest to you is to sustain. And for the growth, practically speaking, how many of these books I've given to you? Particularly those technical books, like Entry into the Middle Way, Mula Madhyamaka Karika, and so forth. So how many of you can practically study them? This is a question. So practically speaking, what I would suggest is, don't forget this book. Don't forget this book, right? This is so precious. What you do is that at least a day, read one page. Don't read 10 pages, read one page. Right? So excited, read 10 pages a day, 20 pages a day, and then the next day you feel tired, then you may give up totally. So one page, start small and grow. Don't start big. Always start small. So that will give you the enthusiasm. So this enthusiasm will keep you going. Right? Start small and grow. Read just one page a day. And if you are consistent with this for the next month, and you want to read more, 2 pages, 5 pages like this, right? 2 pages like this, then if you're consistent for at least for like 6 months, continuously reading 1 page a day. For example, this book is good enough. This book, just read 1 page a day. Then you have to again come back when the book finishes. Again, you come back, read from the top. And if any questions, just if the need be, highlight them. Right? Highlight them. After with second reading, then the question arises. Because with the first reading, there's going to be lots of questions. With the second reading, many of the questions will be solved through your own reading of the remaining part of the books. So that way, when during the second reading and third reading, if you still have questions, highlight them and you feel to ask me. Okay, so with this consistency for about like 6 months, if you're able to maintain this consistency, don't try to read like 5-10 pages a day with this, what do you call it, say the excitement. Right? Initial excitement may not be very stable. So just to make it very stable, 1 page a day, say like for the next, say 6 months or 4 months like this. And if it is very consistent and still you want to read more, then you can read like 2 pages a day. You increase it like this. Right? The thing is that you must leave a time slot to read books. That is so important. That will keep you growing. The practice that you're doing will not keep you growing, will sustain you. Then you read. Reading will keep you growing along with the practice. Reading and practice together will keep you growing in the practice. Then your practice will become richer. If you don't read, just do the practice, it will simply sustain you. And at one point, the danger is that the practice may become too mechanical and dry. Whereas reading more materials, they will keep nurturing you, they will keep feeding you with, say the life in a practice. Okay, so reading books is so precious, so important. Particularly this book is not a book available, compiled somewhere like 100 years ago. It's readily available. No. It was compilation over the last, 12 years, where His Holiness gives this teaching, then this teaching is very important, very short text, then I kept it. Then again, the next teaching happens by His Holiness, that text is very interesting and very helpful, and again, kept it. Some of them I translated myself, just for the teachings of His Holiness. So that way, it was a very slow compilation. A cumulative compilation, right? So this is a very helpful book. And this you keep, and then the proper book hopefully will be coming in the month of August, if not in September. The proper book, proper publication will come. So in there are more there are more texts added, the short text added there, and with the glossary, with the end notes, all the words which you may not know, you'll find them in the end notes. So all this is available in the proper publication, which is coming soon. Okay, so this is what I'd like to share with you. Now, quick for the practice and followed by the question answers that which I already received in the on the papers. Okay, for the practice, same. If you have like say 2 days weekend or 3 days off and so forth, then the practice which we have been doing in the mornings, that you to complete, and in the morning you can split that into 2 sessions, morning 2 sessions, and then the first session you do this, cover more of this practice, and then during the Thamjen Samgyeva, generating the mind of consummate yoga, that part, what you do is that, say, you want to emphasize on emptiness or bodhicitta, you can do one, but do the complete. In the first session, do the complete, but with the emphasis either on wisdom emptiness or bodhicitta, right? If possible, maybe emptiness first, and bodhicitta you do it a little quickly in the form of the 4 essentials, the 4 immeasurables, and then the bodhicitta commitment, and do all the processes, making prostrations, all these things you do complete. And then in the second session, then you can quickly recite the stanza for refuge in bodhicitta, refuge in Buddha. I go for refuge to Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha until I is enlightened. This stanza you say it quickly, and then you can go through the. Okay, let's say. Okay, page 20, page 25. During the second session, begin with the refuge and bodhicitta, page 25. In the second session, refuge and bodhicitta, and then the stanza 12. You just, as you read it, you wholeheartedly visualize that you are engaged in the 7 puja, whatever slight merit I may have created by paying homage, mention that you and all sentient beings are making prostrations, making offering of everything good that exists in the universe, and acknowledging my faults, then confessing negativities, then rejoicing in virtues for all the beings, and then requesting that the Buddha stay and teach. There's 2 things combined together. Requesting all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to give teachings, continue to give teachings, and continue to stay with the sentient beings. And then finally, dedication. I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all sentient beings. You say this wholeheartedly, and then quickly you do the short mantle offering. With the next page, with the 2 requests, set of the requests, and then you begin. You start with the bodhicitta. You then emphasize on the practice of bodhicitta. Okay, so this, if you have like the 2-3 days, the full holiday, right? Full off, long weekend. Yeah, if you have a long weekend, then you do like this. Say in the morning, you split into 2 sessions, and in a very relaxed way, and don't occupy yourself with other responsibilities. Okay, now I have a long weekend, I'll go there. Right? Instead of that, I have a long weekend, now I'll do this practice in a more detail. So you prioritize we need to see how to prioritize. Of course, if there are the other urgent, the emergency case, they can happen, and then we can't do anything. Okay, this is one thing. Now, say if you have like 1 hour a day, then how we do is that, okay, 1 hour a day, then if you have your other commitments, and what you do is that one thing is the commitment as a part of having received some empowerments. You're getting it? Commitment as a part of having received the empowerments. This is one thing. This, unless you sit with the teacher and precisely know how to cut it short, right? How to cut it, how to make it a little shorter. Finally, after all these things, it is not that we make a prayer shorter. So with Jambi, I'm very lucky that I'm able to cut my practices shorter, so that I'm relaxed. No, this is not the idea. Idea is that finally, whether you do the prayers or don't do the prayers or have long prayers or short prayers, whatever, idea is that we have to transform. We have to transform, right? Gate should happen. Otherwise, reciting gate and no transformation, no gate actually happening, what's the point? Gate should happen, transformation happen. For the transformation, simply praying all the time will not transform. Thinking should transform. Thinking. Transformation there too. Transforming your stability, where the very agitated, the restless mind, it should slowly transform into a calm, peaceful, focused mind. One. Number two, someone, right, calm, peaceful in terms of the degree of the mental turbulence. Mental turbulence is less because of the stability practice, shamatha practice, single-pointed practice. One. Number two is the actual transformation. This transformation more like cooling down, to cool something. Say, if the milk is very hot, then we cannot put it directly in the fridge. Right? So what we do is that first let it cool down a little bit. Once it is cooled, then we can put it in the fridge. Likewise, that is just to cool the mind, to single point of meditation. Then this single point of meditation, this can be used then for the analytical meditation. Analytical meditation will then upgrade you. Actual transformation takes place on the basis of the analytical meditation, whether compassion or wisdom of emptiness. So these two. And then grounded on renunciation, the four seals. And the renunciation can be done on the basis of the Lamrim practice. Some people might be more inclined towards the Lamrim practice. Some people more inclined towards the four immeasurables. No. Four seals, it depends on the individual. So in fact, they all boil down to the same practice. It's just a label is different, and the secondary details may be different. Otherwise, the main structure is the same, right? Okay, you can do any. Now, the point is that we have to transform someone. Say, for example, someone who is not as compassionate. Slowly, after a few months, after a few years, person should become more compassionate. Someone, say, with the situation of fear, earlier easily become the panicky and the frightened and very scared, the traumatic. Then because of experience of emptiness, the fear dissolves. These transformations should happen, right? These transformations. For that, we have to practice. We have to actually practice. That is so important. Simply by busy reading and then not finishing the book, not finishing the sadhanas. So that will not take us to the transformation. Of course, it has blessings. Blessings are no doubt there. And then one thing that is happening, for sure happening, even though somebody may not be meditating, somebody may not be getting time to meditate, busy with reading books and making sure that at least that part, the commitment is done every day. What the person is doing is that the sense of commitment, that becomes stronger. That, no doubt, this is a benefit. Even that is so precious, because some people may say, okay, I'll do it. Okay, who's going to help this person? I will do it. Easily commit. And then when actually engaged in helping another person, then when you're confronted with challenges, easily drop. Right? Because the sense of commitment is not so strong. The willpower is not strong. Whereas once you have committed, then however many challenges or big challenges you face with, you confronted with, you never give up because you have committed this. So this is a mental imprint that you brought from your past life. So this willpower is what you brought from past life. So somebody who's busy, then sleeping, dozing off, and still reading, and dozing off, still reading until you finish it, which means the person's building the willpower. Even that is so precious. Although the transformation is not taking place, but the willpower is being built. Even that is so precious, right? Okay, this is one thing. So those who may be doing, you see someone doing dozing off, and then you lost weight. Have you read? Again, you go back. Again, you read. Again, you fall asleep. Again, you don't know where I read. Again, you start from the beginning. It never finishes, right? So, still, what is happening is that a person is building the willpower. This is so precious, right? And then, if possible, not only willpower, but the real transformation also takes place. That is the best, right? Not only just willpower building. Okay. So for the transformation, we need time to practice. Right? Literally, we need time. This is where oftentimes they say, okay, some people, they accuse one group of the practitioners, saying that they don't meditate, right? They lots of prayers to do, and they learn so many things. They know about this, they know about that. They don't practice, they don't meditate. This is the accusation coming from one sector. I'm not going to mention that. So, and this accusation is extremely a guiding force for us. We have to practice. We need time to practice. So therefore, don't emphasize so much on reading, right? Chanting, right? Okay, this mantra to chant, that mantra to chant, or so many mantras to chant, and no time for practice, right? And then on all these mantras, then you have the sadhana, right? And then you went to Jambi retreat. So then he said you have to practice. And then to the Vaishnav practice. Then you add this. Then you have no time. By the time you're already very exhausted, right? And then because you're so exhausted, one time is fine. 2 days very exhausted. Then you give up everything. This is dangerous. So what we do is that the commitments, don't be so keen on taking empowerments. Right? Only, for example, say taking the empowerment Aravalukdishvara, Aratara, then the Aramanjushri. So these things is fine, there's no problem, there's no special commitment. Where the HYT, there are huge commitments. So generally speaking, for example, say Shri Guya Samaja, generally speaking, there's no commitment. Now His Holiness gives the commitment, right? Commitment to recite and the Shri Guya Samaja is huge sadhana. It's not a short sadhana, right? And there are short sadhanas. I don't know how it suffices reciting doing the sadhana of the Shri Guya Samaja. I don't know how they do that. Okay, so thing is, don't be keen on receiving empowerments, and you get the feeling that when everybody is going to take the Guya Samaja, Shri Guya Samaja empowerment, oh, this is the last part. This is the last time. Shri Kalachara empowerment. This is the last. We are not going to get the opportunity, right? So and then there's a hype there. Then, oh no, if I don't do it, then I'm missing something. Everybody's going, you go, oh, yes, I'm going there. I'm going there. then what happened to me? I'm not going there. No, I should go, right? You are taken carried by the current. You're not going there of your own. And then finally, so much excitement, and finally, oh yes, I should. And finally, commitments, right? The commitments. Oh no, I cannot do this. How I wish I have not received the empowerment. Right? Okay, don't go for this. Be your own judge. Be your own judge. Only if the bodhicitta and wisdom, there's some degree of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta makes some sense to me. It becomes quite a living mental state in my mind. It's quite alive in me. Wisdom, emptiness. Okay, you think about how things don't exist the way they appear, and then you start to have goosebumps in the body, right? Things don't exist the way they appear to me. When these things, indications come to you, then you may be ready for the HYT. Otherwise, simply because, okay, don't be too eager on that, right? Okay, one. Meanwhile, when his Holiness is giving Shirikala Chakra empowerment, or say the Shirikuya Samaj empowerment and these things, and because of what I mentioned, if you cannot receive these things, then always pray that may I reach to the level where I can be the right person to receive the empowerment. Put under prayers. This is so precious. Why you are not going there is not out of disrespect, out of tremendous respect. Out of tremendous respect to the teaching. This respect connects you to the teaching even more. So later on, when you actually start receiving the empowerment, it is so powerful. Effect is so intense on you. Whereas without these preliminaries, you just jump like this, and then you regret. Then the power, the blessings is also questionable, let alone the power. Okay. So this is one thing. So with this, what I'm saying is that finally we need time to practice. Only with practice you can transform. Right? That is the whole idea. For that matter, say if you have like only 1 hour a day, then what you can do is, okay, say you can do from page 2 the preliminary prayers, page 2. Then of course the page 3 end. Then say page 7, and then page 10, 11, 12, of course. The Heart Sutra, you can alternate. One day you can read, one day you may skip, but then you recite the Heart Sutra mantra. You recite Heart Sutra mantra like say 7 times or 3 times, depending on the time availability. And when you are a little more leisurely, then you can read the 8 verses of mind training. Whereas if you are in a little hurry, like exactly 1 hour, no extension, they permissible, then you can skip 8 verse mind training. Otherwise, if you have little flexibility there, you can read the 8 verse mind training. Okay. Then the 7 puja, you can do the stanza 12. Stanza 12, just one stanza for the 7 puja. But when you say this, you must make sure that your mind is really there. Okay. Then you go into the short mandala with the 2 requests. Okay. Then foundation of all good qualities is very important. Okay. You do this. Then go to the Vajra and Moon practice. Which is on page 32. Vajra and Moon practice, which means the taking the aspiration Bodhisattva practice, right? Vajra and Moon practice. So there, what you do is that you can directly go into the okay. Say if there is a constraint of time, then you can do like say 21 cycles of breathing meditation. 21 cycles of breathing meditation. 21 cycles, which is like a little over 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. 21 cycles of the breathing meditation. Whereas if you have little flexible time, then you can do 5 minutes breathing meditation. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. Then you go into the renunciation. For the renunciation, go to the 4 seals. The 4 seals. And the 4 seals you may not spend too much time, because you don't have time in the first place, it's just 1 hour. What you do is that you read the 4 seals with the renunciation. All composite things are impermanent, right? Just quickly think about, yes, although I'm very busy now, but the fact is that everything is impermanent. That's very fact, right? Everything is so impermanent. Then all contaminated things are suffering nature. As long as I'm under the sway of the contaminations, self-grasping, self-centered attitude, only will lead to miseries. That's fact. Like this, you have to make it very dynamic, very dramatic. Right? That's fact. As long as I'm under sway of self-grasping and self-centered attitudes as the worst of contaminations, they will only lead me to miseries. That is fact. Like, when you say that is fact, it is like meditating. It is like, say, as powerful as meditating on this, all contaminated things are suffering nature for like, say, 20 minutes. Right? When you say that's fact, when you say this, transform me hitting your mind very strongly. Right? Like this. And then everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Quickly think about the emptiness of yourself. Say, I'm just the 6 elements. Where is this person? None of the 6 elements me. Different from 6 elements me. Where is this I? I disappears. Right? Sometimes with the 6 elements, what can happen? Okay, look, this is very important. Sometimes what can happen, particularly when you do it over and over again, then slowly it will become mechanical. It will become mechanical, and then the 6 elements are there, but there's one person who's watching it. This kind of feeling will come to you. 6 elements are there, yes, that's true, but I'm watching it. Right? There's objective existence I watching the 6 elements. Okay, so under such situation, what you should be doing is that you should be very creative. How? By seeing yourself, particularly your physical body, in the form of the atoms. Right? And atoms. And then ask yourself the 2 questions. What are you seeing? I'm seeing the 6 atoms. I'm seeing the millions of atoms. And where is this person meditating? Where is this body in the meditative posture? Where is the body in the meditative posture? Where is it? It disappears. That must come to our mind, because what you're seeing is just atoms. And the body meditating is actually not there in this experience. It is not there. You get to feel that, oh, that's 100% sure it is not there. Don't just say that, oh, of course it is not there, but not thinking. You can give the answer. This will not help. Yes, it is not there. It's just atoms. The body, which is the meditative posture, this body is not there. It's empty. Just atoms. It's empty. The moment you get that, somehow the wisdom of emptiness has already hit you, right? Hit you. That's good enough. Then you say that with this experience, transcendence of sorrow is misery. This is the dissolution of all the miseries. Then go to Bodhicitta. If 1 hour, you may not get time to work on the same matter equalizing, exchanging, and the sevenfold. So better go for the 4 immeasurables, and then conclude with the Bodhicitta as we do, right? As we do, and if you still have little time, then you can recite from page 34. Page 34, the 3 stanzas. If you think still, so mainly it depends on how efficient you are. How efficient you are in time management. Then, whereas if you don't have time, then this bodhicitta quickly changes into the moon, and then reinforce the wisdom emptiness very quickly, come back, that changes into the vajra, and And then imagine that you distribute this, the replicas, millions of the replicas, you multiply and share them with all the, very quickly share them with all the sentient beings, including your parents, and then invoke all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They watch the moon to multiply and descend you, blessed, and then you go to do the dedication. Throughout my you go to the, if, then depends, if you have no time, then go to dedication directly. No need to go for the other things like the stanzas added from the Bodhisattva, the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. And whereas if you can see, if you can have like few extra seconds, if you can have, then you can add this throughout my future lifetimes, page 35. May I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Wholeheartedly say this, and then you rush to the dedication. Rush to the dedication. So this will take you around like 1 hour. 1 hour. Okay. Then, if you have only about 30 minutes, what should I do, right? Okay, then what you do is go to page 7. Go to page 7. And then just directly start with, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. By my commitment to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Then you can skip the Tibetan. No need to read the Tibetan. Just skip that. Read the English and 3 times. 3 times. And then go to Heart Sutra mantra. Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. 3 times. Okay. Then page 25, the 7 puja, 1 stanza, stanza 12. Page 25, stanza 12. Go for that. Okay. Then read the foundation of all good qualities, page 28. Page 28, 29, or 30, foundation of all good qualities. Okay. Then, half an hour, there's no point in single point of meditation, right? Skip that. Then you do the 4 seals directly. Just recite the 4 seals. When you recite the 4 seals, for the renunciation, when you recite the 4 seals, make sure that your mind is really there. All composite things are impermanent. Just quickly think about impermanence. A few seconds, 2-3 seconds. Impermanence. All contaminating things are suffering nature. Feel angry towards the true demons. That's it. Feel angry towards the true demons. And then everything is nature, emptiness, selflessness. You recite it and say, quickly think about, okay, I'm just the 6 elements, more than 6 elements. From the opposite side, I'm just empty. Just abide in this very quickly. And then recite the line, transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Then quickly go to the 4 immeasurables. 4 immeasurables. Quickly go for 4 immeasurables. If you really feel concerned there, then you can even skip the 4 immeasurables. Just quickly think with folded hands, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Wholeheartedly say this 3 times. Wholeheartedly say this 3 times. Right? May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. By viewing your 2 parents and all sentient beings suffering, just wholeheartedly say this prayer 3 times. Okay. Then change this bodhicitta into the moon disk. And quickly retrieve the emptiness practice which we did, that I'm just 6 elements. Beyond the 6 elements, I'm empty. Where is this I? It's empty. Just try to get a glimpse of this experience. Try to get the glimpse of experience. Once you get it, good. Then transform into Vajra. And quickly distribute the replicas to your mother, father, all sentient beings. Quickly do that. And quickly invoke the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of the Vajras descending down, merge with one that you visualized, and visualize at the hearts of all sentient beings. They bless, become non-dual, and stabilize. Just quickly abide in this experience. and then do the end dedication prayer. And then at the stanza, which page is that? 35, I think. At that stanza, it'll take you 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Page 35 last one. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Okay, so at this, and then do the dedication, which is on page. And dedication, you can just say the last stanza, page 44. Page 44, the last stanza. From my two collections, vast space that have emerged from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, which minds blind to begin. This is a very powerful prayer. Very powerful prayer. And finish. So this will not take you not even half an hour. It's like maybe 20 minutes, right? Now, if you have only like 10 minutes, what should I do, right? Okay. If you have only like 10 minutes, then page 7. Start with page 7, but don't disclose this to anyone else outside this retreat, right? Right? Okay, don't disclose this to anyone. Between 5 minutes to 10 minutes, right? Okay. People might think that now he's going too much. He's doing too much. Okay. So page 7, same. I go for refuge to the Buddha. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become Buddha to be enforced. Just say this wholeheartedly 3 times. Wholeheartedly 3 times, right? Okay. Then go to page. Stanza 12, I think page 24 or 25. 25. Stanza 1, say this. Whatever slight merit I may have created by paying homage, offering and acknowledge my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha stay and teach, and now dedicate all these for the full awakening of all beings. I don't know in 5 minutes how much dedicate the virtue that we accumulate to be dedicated. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Wholeheartedly say this. Not only today. That's true. Right? How much merit we have, we don't know. In 5 minutes. Okay, anyway, it's fine. Just say this wholeheartedly. Say this, and then you go to recite the 4 seals. 4 seals. Wholeheartedly recite the 4 seals. Recite the 4. Meanwhile, even if you may not be able to think in detail, recite the 4 seals. When you recite the 4, your mind should be there. All composite things are impermanent. So whatever meditation you have been doing in the earlier days, during the weekends and so forth, this force will come to here, although you may not be thinking a lot. At the moment you say all composite things, it's strange. This is dependent origination. Because of the force of the earlier meditations, when you're more free, that force will act here. When you simply recite it slowly, with your mind there, all composite things are impermanent. So early meditations, the force will be felt, and that effect is felt, but not as effective as you think about all composite things impermanent, gross impermanence. Not to that extent, but the effect will be felt if you recite it. If you recite it, and recite it with your mind in it, not your mind with the jobs and these things. Okay, so. And the 4 seals, then after 4 seals, then quickly make the commitment, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Say this 3 times, I'll say this 3 times, transform into moon disk, and then quickly think about emptiness. In fact, say with the 3rd seal, since that you did not actually meditate on the 3rd seal, you just said it, here you can simply quickly think about, I'm just the 6 elements. I'm just the atom, 6 elements. More than 6 elements, I'm empty. At least say this. And then transform this into Vajra. And then quickly spread this to all sentient beings. Right? And then imagine all the Buddhas, they are sending down the Vajra moon towards you and all sentient beings. And then go to the end dedication prayer, which is page 44, the last stanza. In fact, the dedication prayers, you can alternate. Make sure that you at least dedicate the virtue. You can alter the first stanza, the second stanza, or the third stanza, or any stanza from down there at the end of the book. There are a number of the dedication prayers. So whichever of the prayers you feel more effective, you can bring it here. And I personally feel this prayer very powerful, and so therefore I added this here. And page 44, from my two collections. Vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. Again, the same thing. Not great length of time, actually. Right? Great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes, plan. It doesn't matter. At least you can think about the 11 days in Bodhicitta, the Jambi. That you can bring in there, yeah. Okay. So, this will take you like 6 to 7 minutes. And what if I have less than 5 minutes? Then sorry.
There are two types of the dedication. Throughout my future lifetime, they are being guided by. One is compassionate Buddha, the other one is Arya Manjushri.
Yes.
If I feel particularly close to the other deities, can I alter that with that really like Avalokiteshvara?
Yes. Very much so. You can, and you can alternate. You can, they say, change the deities. Yep, that's possible. Okay, so the Manjushri part is, I deliberately added this. This is not from me. This is from, if you read the source, if you read the reference, you'll see that it's from Lama Tsongkhapa's commentary on Arya Nagarjuna's The Fundamental Wisdom of the Middle Way. From there it was extracted. When I read the commentary, when I was actually studying this, I saw this prayer, it was so powerful, then I started to include that in my prayers all the time. So if possible, don't just alternate so easily, because these are done by the great saints. It has a tremendous blessing. Don't alternate things so easily. At the most, what you can do is that you keep it there, you say this, and then you can add. Don't delete this. You keep it there, you can add another prayer with whatever deity you feel connected. You can add the deity there. And the first one, don't alternate. First one, keep it there. Right? Okay. Now the second one with the compassionate Buddha. So that one, I composed myself on the basis of the one from Lama Tsongkhapa's prayer. So that one I added, not changed. I added as a part of that the Buddha Shakyamuni be guiding us throughout our future lifetimes. Whereas I always say the Arya Manjushri prayer every night before I go to bed, because I don't alter this. For me, honestly speaking, Buddha Shakyamuni is so close. So, but I don't alter it, because this is a prayer written by Lama Tsongkhapa, highly enlightened, and all what we are studying now about emptiness. With the emptiness, to be very honest, with the emptiness, we are so fortunate that Lama Tsongkhapa appeared on this earth. So he made things so clear, and it is because of him that now we speak about emptiness. It becomes so clear in just a few days. It becomes so clear. It's all because of him. It's all because of him. Otherwise, so say how people, years and years and years, like 20, 30 years, people are meditating on emptiness, but what exactly they are meditating on the affirming negative. And some are meditating on the positive phenomena, right? So whereas because of Lama Tsongkhapa, it becomes so weird. In just a few days, right? Oh, emptiness, non-affirming negative, finished. It becomes very clear, right? Oh, what is the atoms? They're positive phenomena. There's not emptiness. You skip that. Right? Many people, they meditate just on the atoms like this. And we will never do it, because we know that there's a positive phenomena. Such a clarity was given by Lama Tsongkhapa. So because of this, we see that such enlightened being, when he said a prayer, that's a tremendous power. And if we easily switch that for something else, then we are actually depriving ourselves of all these blessings. So that should not be altered. That should be maintained there. And then you can add something else. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now I think the some question answers. Let's try to, let's see how much we can cover them. If not, not worry. Still we have some more days. Okay. Particularly I'll go through those which are already read. Okay, this is a quite tricky, this is a good question. It says that you use traffic rules as an illustration of conventions and heat of the fire as illustration of a nature that comes from the object. In what way is fire and heat of the fire empty of objective existence? How do we explain the hotness of the fire as a subjective perception? Okay, this is a good question. Convention. Say, when I say the traffic rules, is a convention where, say, the government is seeing some flaw. If the government sees some flaw, that some mistake there on the driving on the left lane, then okay, with effect from 2018, the traffic, we should all drive on the right side, and all cars, the steering will be changed, right? Then from that day onwards, the rule is different, right? That is one convention. That convention is easy to be altered. Right? Now, there are some conventions which are more difficult to be altered. For example, say the girls keeping long hair and the girls keeping short hair, right? And girls wearing the what? The heels, and the boys not wearing the heels. No, but the pointed heels, right? If the boys wear the pointed, is very odd, and the girls wearing the pointed heels is nice, right? This is all convention. There's no reason why the boys wearing the pointed heels is odd and why the girls wearing it is nice. There's no reason. It's just pure convention. We create the convention and then we see it as so objectively real, and then that affects our emotions. We are bound by the conventions, right? Now, say the fire as hot. The fire will never be cold. Through whatever conventions we create, right? Even UNO people, all the kings, the prime minister, presidents, all come together. From tomorrow onwards, the fire is going to be cold. No fire will become cold, right? So that convention is something very long-lasting. It's not something that we can change easily. So convention, there are so many levels. Some are easily can be altered, some which cannot be altered at all. Okay, say the mind decides ascension, that a being. Whether something is a being or a non-being, it is decided by the presence of the mind. So this, nobody can change this convention. This convention is fixed, right? But it is not absolute, but it is not objectively existent. So the fire is hot. The fire is hot, although it does say that the same for the hell beings, who are in the cold hell beings, for them, even the sun's rays is so cold for them. So cold for them. Sun rays for us is warm, but for them it's so cold because of the karma. Likewise, the fire, if you touch it, it may be too cold for them, right? So these are mentioned there. These are mentioned. But generally speaking, the fire is always hot and burning. This is the definition of the fire, right? Okay. Now, if that is the case, then we can understand easily that traffic rules, they are convention, they don't exist objectively. That's understandable. How do you understand that the fire, how can we see that the fire is always hot? How can we say that the fire is empty of objective existence? This is a question, right? Okay. Okay, who asked this question? Okay, is this the question? Okay, if this question, this is like we think about, okay, let's say the characteristics and the characterized. Characteristics and the characterized. Say for example, this flower. Okay, how is this flower? Good or bad? Those people who sow more beautiful flowers than this all the time, they will see that this is not really a good flower. And those people who see the flowers always drooping all the time, they say, wow, it's very refreshing flower, right? So you say, oh, this is imputed, right? Group A sees this is very beautiful. Group A sees this is B. Group B sees this is very beautiful. Now B is also becoming absolute. Okay, B sees it very beautiful. A sees this as not so beautiful, right? Okay, this is mind, coming from a mind. Okay, fine. But what about the flower? A sees a B, beautiful. A sees a flower. B also sees a flower. The flower is the characterized, and the beauty is the characteristic. So to see the emptiness nature, not the 100%, not the precise emptiness, but in a loose sense, to see that the characteristics are not independent. Not independent, they are empty of independence. That is easier. But the question still remains whether or not by seeing that flower, of course, the flower, the beauty, that depends. It is relative. It's not absolute. We may say like this. The question arises: does the flower seller, who has no exposure to philosophy, okay, tell me. Flower. Okay, how long should I go? Till what time should I go? Tell me. Yes, till what time? Okay, let's say another 15 minutes. Huh? No, it's already 9:30 now. Okay, let's say 10 minutes now. Okay, so because this clock is very... Okay, 10 minutes. Characteristics and the characterized. You're getting it? Same in a loose sense. I'm not talking about with the authority. In a loose sense, say, to understand the relativity. Relativity means not absolute. Not absolute. To understand that, the characteristics, they depend on how you view your subjective mind. So that understanding is much easier as compared to the characterized, right? Oh, this flower is beautiful, not beautiful. Some say, you say it's beautiful, you say it's not beautiful, right? And then who's right? You'll say the both are right. And how come that you are seeing two different things? Oh, this is how you see. How you see means it's the mental perception. It's not from the object. From this, the beauty, the characteristics. The characteristics we can more easily say is coming from the mind. But the characterized, which means the flower. Do you see the flower? Yes. Do you see the flower? Yes. You're getting it? Okay. Now both see this as a flower. But one sees this as a beautiful flower, one sees this as the not beautiful flower. So the characteristics, it's more from the perception. Characterized is more from the object. This is how it comes to a mind. So now just imagine, this is very important, very important. Oftentimes people explain emptiness like this, very gross emptiness. This is actually very gross emptiness. Oh, beauty, and actually good and bad, they're all relative. This emptiness, nothing from the object. This very gross emptiness. This is actually not emptiness. This is so gross. But many people explain like this, right? Okay, now let's say, for example, say non-philosopher, a person who always sells flower, a florist. You call him florist? Florist. Let's say the florist. Okay. Say the florist sells a flower, and the florist is very smart. He knows the characteristics, not the characterized as dependent origination. Characteristics as depend the relative. They don't exist objectively. They don't exist absolutely. They know this. So how do they do that? How did they do that? How did they do that? Okay. Say you come to buy the flowers, and he senses that you are so picky about the flowers, very big, very juicy, right? Only very good ones, then you want to buy, otherwise you will not buy. He senses that. So he will first show you all the bad ones. He will show you all the bad ones, sometimes little good ones, then you, wow, this is good, right? Because you've been seeing all the bad things, right? Then still what you see as good, still you see that it's not really the one. You have more, again he's a little better one, right? Again the bad ones. Continue to show you like this, then he'll make you exhausted. Once you're exhausted, right, then you almost give up. Okay, sorry, now I'll come other time. Which means you want to go to another florist. He knows that. Now he will show you a quite 50% better than what you have shown, right? Wow, that's so beautiful, right? Then he will show you the best one, right? Actually, it's not the best. For others have better than this. But in your eyes, this is so good, now you'll buy this, right? Which means that he knows that the characteristics, whether beautiful or not beautiful, is not really there. It's how you look at it. And how you look at it, first give all the bad things all the time. Then you show the good ones. Then you are, wow, it's so good, right? This is how even the non-philosophers, they know this. Yeah, even non-philosophers, they don't have any exposure to philosophy, but they know this. So the person does not have any clue of emptiness, but the characteristics, how they are not objectively real. Even the ordinary florists, they know this, right? Okay, now what exactly is the emptiness of the beauty, emptiness of the flower? This is what we need to know. So it is not just sufficient to see that the relativity of things, and then from that point of view, it's good, actually good. That's very helpful. It's very helpful, but this is not the ultimate understanding of emptiness. Now, for the ultimate understanding of emptiness, let's say the flower, right? The flower should disappear. The characterized should disappear, right? Hey, how does this flower appear to you? It's a beautiful flower. Now when you see this a beautiful flower, then you go into the ultimate analysis. We go into ultimate analysis, the flower disappears. Where's the beautiful flower? Where's the characteristic? When the characterized disappears, the characteristic automatically disappears. So that is the emptiness of the characteristic of the flower. Right? Not just the relativity which you see. Okay, so likewise the fire. Now the fire should not be just the traffic rules. The traffic is there. Traffic is there. Which is correct? Right or left? Which is correct? That is so easy. Right? Which is correct? That is coming from our mind. That is so easy, relatively so easy. As compared to the traffic there. Actually, the traffic. Actually, the traffic there, the road. Right? Whether right lane is correct, left lane is, road will not change. Road remain the same. So how to see the emptiness of the road? You're getting it? If you see the emptiness of the road, then the left lane to be correct, when you see that left lane itself is empty, then the left lane to be the right lane, to be empty, will also come to you. Right? Okay, likewise the fire. Fire is what? Fire, you see as fire. Which fire? Like burning like this. That is the fire. Not just one atom is the fire, right? And this fire is nothing but the carbon, oxygen, and this encompassed in that. And when you go into atomic level, we see that outwardly we see it as fire. When you go to the atomic level, it's just the atoms which are more active than the normal atoms, right? When the atoms, they are more active than the normal atoms, we see this as a fire, right? Very fast moving, so active, and actually the atoms are active. There's no fire actually there. It's just the perception that is taking place when the atoms are so fast, right? And some of the atoms, they fly in the air. Then you see, oh, it's a fire there, and actually it's just the atoms separated like this. Right? Okay. Maybe the last question. Okay, when uncontrived bodhicitta is generated, wouldn't one has abandoned self-centeredness? If yes, why does bodhicitta on the path of accumulation till the 10th ground still have self-centeredness? Okay. Okay. So the best answer would be first try to generate bodhicitta yourself. Generate bodhicitta yourself, right? Generate bodhicitta yourself. And so oftentimes what happens is that we go into the theory. We go into theory. The practical is very different, right? We generate bodhicitta. And after generating the bodhicitta, uncontrived bodhicitta. It doesn't mean that every moment uncontrived bodhicitta all the time. That's not true. Uncontrived bodhicitta you generated, and then because that you are still in the first gati, right? First gati. So you are again once again bombarded by the self-cherishing mind, seeing things as permanent, attachment, anger, jealousy. They are still there. But with this uncontrived bodhicitta, it is like a sapling. Initial sapling of a very delicious mango. Delicious mango is the Buddhahood. You are not a mango at the moment. There's no mango there, right? And we should not think that I'm a mango. You are a mango sapling, right? So precious, very precious, right? It is so precious, and because it is precious and sapling, not the actual mango tree, so therefore it needs fence. It needs fence, otherwise cows will eat this up. Right? Because the mango sapling is very delicious, cows will easily eat this up. So therefore you have to fence. So although you have already cultivated the bodhicitta, uncontrived bodhicitta, even that can disappear, even that can degenerate. There's a danger there. So therefore the fencing should be very strongly fenced there. Very strongly fenced. Constantly have to cultivate, and it's for this reason that the Buddhas, they're particularly so careful about the freshly enrolled bodhisattvas. Freshly enrolled bodhisattvas, Buddhas are so particular that they don't degenerate in the bodhicitta, because this is so great. This is the panacea to heal the ailments of all the sentient beings. Right? So therefore, we should be, when the Buddhas are taking care of us, we should be exceptionally taken care of. Why? Because the opposing factors are still very strong. Self-centeredness, the viewing things as objectively real, permanent, these things are still very strong. You're getting it? Okay, so therefore, the self-centeredness is still there. Now, same as we mentioned earlier, okay, so the thing is that the best would be to generate bodhicitta yourself and then see, right, okay, I've already have the uncontrived bodhicitta, I'm already into the gate, right? And then once in a while, again, the self-centered attitude bombards you, hits you with self-centered attitude, these things, they hit you, again you have to fight, right? Okay, so therefore, say in reality, it is like, say, more like the mixture, right? It is going from, say, pure white, pure black, right? This is usually the youngsters thinking, either white or black. There's no gray in between. This is the youngsters, young people, right? Oh, bodhicitta, no self-centeredness. With self-centeredness, you have no, where is the bodhicitta? No bodhicitta. This is the immature, our thinking. Whereas in reality, say it is like from the pure black, it grows slowly whiter, which means still is whiter means it's not pure white. It's still mixture is still there. Then at one point, the white overrides the black. Then you say, oh, this is white. You don't say white. You say it's white, which means still there's a black there, right? Then you go like this, then it becomes still whiter. This is how the process, this is journey. Gade. Paragade, even Paragade, there is the black part still there. Right? Okay, so we'll stop here. 3 prostrations. Okay, yeah, we do not. Okay, we will quickly do the anti-addiction prayer. Let's turn to page 309. Okay, in fact, today it was really a very auspicious day. Amazingly, a great wealth of virtue, no doubt, we accumulated. So let us dedicate the virtues properly here. Okay, as the lines read, we'll dedicate the virtues properly. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of the Dharma and the wingsless no land. You are the lotus holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We subject you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Aramajishri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even our cosmic life. Okay. So as a reminder, very quick reminder, that when we get like 1 or 2 days off, even 1 day off, whole 1 day off, we can use that as a retreat, 1 day retreat, 2 days retreat, 3 day retreat. This is also possible, right? And retreat may not necessarily be like what you've been doing, like, whole day. No, not necessary. Say, make sure that the Vajra and Moon practice, Bodhicitta practice, as with Bodhicitta, you receive the experience of Bodhisattva vow, and then you can emphasize on impermanence, for the more session. Impermanence, sometimes on the suffering, and you can make it very structured. The first weekend you can use that for impermanence. Second weekend you can use on the suffering. Third weekend you can use on the emptiness, right? And the fourth weekend use on the Bodhicitta, right? For the Bodhicitta you can just say, because then you have whole 1 day. For the Bodhicitta, the emphasis on Bodhicitta, then you can use both the methods. You can use in 1 day you can easily cover both the methods. Okay. So whereas if you're quite used to that, I think for 2 methods, if you do both methods, and that too with some effect, I think it will take about like say 20 minutes with effect, with the vibrance. It'll take like 20 minutes if you do both methods after getting used to that. Before getting used to that, then each method may take you like 20 minutes, right? Okay, so that will be good. And then if you do this like this, it doesn't matter. I'm on retreat, and then it should not be so proper retreat. No, you do it like this, and slowly you will come to, in fact, how I do my retreat. Right? If I share with you, it may not suit you exactly how you split your time. It may not be effective to you, right? So in my case, for example, say how I do, then you do the retreat, and then something is not really proper. Okay, just continue doing this, and then the next retreat again for like the 20 days, 1 month. Again, still something is not right. And slowly through your own experience, you will know how to split the time very effectively, right? It'll take time. So it is only through doing it Then you will know exactly how your mind, what kind of the time arrangement your mind is more the what fitting. So this come only through experience. So for this you have to practice a little bit. So for this, even one day is fine. You can sit for your retreat. And with that day, you cut all the, either you give your mobile to one of your brothers, sisters, or whatever. And if there is some important calls, please pick up. Otherwise, don't pick up, right? And then you just close yourself in a room and do practice, right? And then 2 days. So this is how we learn. Okay, 3 prostrations.